Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Yaritza, and in today's little vlog, I'll just be recapping what's been going on week 3 and week 4, which this past week that just finished was week 4, in my new position as a pre-K instructional coach. Everything still feels like just super new and exciting. So let me start off with that last week of July. That Monday, July 25th, all of the coaches reported to our offices and we got trained on all of the curriculum documents as part of like early childhood. So all of those resources, which was a lot. But in my case, it really helps that I'm already familiar with a lot of those documents since I'm still within my district and I used a lot of those resources. So that was super helpful, but also like a little bit stressful because we really had to pay attention to everything that our managers covered. They basically walked us through the PowerPoint that they give to the teachers, and then we're gonna have to be giving that professional development this upcoming week, but I'll get to that. But yeah, we did that on that Monday. And then that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, most of the coaches went to professional development at Rice University, which they have like a school of literacy, which focuses a lot on early childhood. So all of the trainings were really fantastic. I really enjoyed them. So I'm just gonna highlight a few of them. We were supposed to stay on Friday, but I'll get to that. So Rice has a whole, I believe it's like a year-long program, and it revolves around story dictation. I got to see a little bit of this when I was teaching my first year as a Head Start teacher, because the school that I was at was implementing, they currently had teachers going through that program, so they were implementing everything that they were learning for that program. So I did get to see a little bit of the story dictation, but essentially I think it's just like a very simple but powerful practice, and it involves just sitting down one-on-one with your kids and just have them tell a story. And so the benefit that I saw in this is that children really make that connection in seeing that what they think they can say, what they say can be written, and what can be written can also be read. So they showed us a lot of samples of what that looks like, the story dictation at the beginning of the year. And it'll be just 2 to 4 sentences depending on that child's English language development, their proficiency. And a lot of the times it also, like the stories were kind of just things that they did with their parents. And then as the year progressed, you got to see how their stories got more elaborate. And of course, they're like kid stories, so they were super silly. They don't make sense, but it's still really cool to see just how much they're able to expand on what they want to say in their story. And then a couple of other things about that was that, again, you pick ideally, like if you can have just one dictation per child, like one day out of the week, so you would be doing 5 kids per week, then that way you have like one sample per month almost of that child's dictation progress. And so when you're sitting down with that child, you do have to have like that carbon paper so that they can take a copy home, but you sit them like right next to you and you make sure that they can see what you're writing, and like anything that they say, you're writing like word for word and like you're repeating their story. And then the second part to that is a dramatization. So whatever they say in their little story, you have to pull out the characters from the story, and then they pick classmates to reenact, to dramatize the story. So we also saw some video examples of that. Anyway, like I loved it, and if I was in the classroom, I would totally do it. I think that's like the missing link. Yeah, just children making that connection that what they say can be written. And I felt like when I was in the classroom, I felt like, I still had so much to improve on, and I did think that writing was one of them, especially because I didn't really do my writing in pre-K was mostly like just copying, which that is a part of like their developmental process, is just copying words, because they're realizing that you read a word from left to right, and then they also just start practicing writing from left to right. And they're still developing all of their bones in their hand, so they need a lot of practice just writing, whether that's copying. But for me, it's definitely been hard, especially switching to kinder, like getting them to write authentically for themselves. So I think the story dictation is pretty cool because you get them excited to tell you a story. And again, at the beginning, it's going to look really different, but I think once they start making that connection, it gets them like really excited. And then you'll have some kids that will want to extend that and do it independently. But anyway, so yeah, story dictation was one very cool thing that I learned. And then they also had a session on story baskets. And with story baskets, it's basically like making sure you have props so that the kids can retell stories. So I was kind of already doing that. And for me, it was particularly easier to do that when it was time to retell fairy tales, traditional tales. One, because it's like just very easy to find different like puppet cutouts that I would just print, and I would put them in a baggie. So not necessarily, I wouldn't put them in like a basket or a bin. I would just put them in a Ziploc. And then I would have the book available for them at the library. But if you can find little props, like that's even better, but you don't have to. But yeah, fairy tales are super fun to read, and they're just very captivating to children. I always loved reading Hansel and Gretel, Jack and the Beanstalk, Red Riding Hood. Like there's just so many, and you just read them over and over, and the kids just like, they love retelling those kinds of stories. And retelling is a really important skill because that is comprehension. Are they able to comprehend what they just listened to and retell it? So yeah, story baskets. And then I would say the third thing that I really enjoyed was that they also had a session on sensory bins. And so they kind of divided the presentation, which all of these sessions, they had like a list of sessions that were about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour long. But normally these sessions are like 3-hour sessions, so they really had to condense it down to like those 45 or an hour long sessions. So with the sensory one, they kind of broke it up into 3 parts. I believe it was light. Oh no, y'all, I'm lying. I don't remember what the 3 parts were. They just gave a lot of ideas on different types of sensory play that you can have in the classroom. All right, so yeah, we had 3 days of rice. And then that 4th day on Friday, we were supposed to go to rice, but we had a conflicting training that day. So a few other of our district departments had to go to this Friday training, which kind of was centered on like time management. It was like time management for leaders, which we got a book for it that's sitting right here. So the author of the book was the one that gave the presentation. And since we didn't know our school assignments at the time, it just didn't feel as helpful as it could have been. But we do have a second session in September where it's going to focus more on creating like an actual system for ourselves to stay organized with all the different tasks that we have to do. So that was that Friday. And then this past week, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the early childhood department had training set up for pre-K teachers. So because it is still summertime, it wasn't like a super large crowd. I would say like in total, it was maybe like 50 to 60 teachers. So every day was divided up kind of in 2 sessions. So every day they offered 2 3-hour long sessions, and Rice University, we had some of their leadership team come and present on different sessions. So they actually covered some of the sessions that we did, but it was in that 3-hour window. So it was like their full session. So every day Rice University presented on a different topic. So it was, Rice University. And then we also had Region 4. And then the early childhood department had another 3-hour session as well. But it was kind of broken down into two 1.5-hour sessions. And all of these presentations were given by our managers. So we got to see them in action because these are going to be trainings that we do later on in the fall. And then on Thursday, this past Thursday, our managers assigned us slides. So the specific curriculum documents, PowerPoint PD that we're giving is about 70 slides. So that PD is supposed to take 3 hours. So we saw it twice. We saw it that one Monday when our manager presented to us, and we saw it again last week on Thursday. Yeah, they assigned us 3 to 4 slides. Everybody got 3 to 4 slides, and then they gave us like an hour to practice those slides, and then we presented to each other. And depending on like our presentation style, then they assigned a partner, and then they assigned us what day we are going to be presenting this upcoming week. So tomorrow we will be at our offices, and I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do. Hopefully they give us time to practice, but I'm not entirely sure. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, our team is going to be split up. So every day there's going to be 2 early childhood locations where our team will be. And so there will be like 2 teammates giving that presentation, at this location, 2 teammates at this location. And so it was like nerve-wracking to find out when they assigned. But I got the session for Thursday. So that's going to give me time to observe my teammates and like keep soaking in the presentation, because that's crazy, y'all. It's going to be like 3 hours. I have to give a 3-hour presentation with a teammate. And then finally, the moment we were waiting for, we got our school assignments. So I got a total of 7 schools. I do know I'm familiar with 4 of the schools, and my district is just so huge. Like there's 3 schools that I've never heard of. So, I'll get familiar with them. But it was like just super relieving to finally know what schools I've got. And so some advice was to just visit 2 schools per day. So I'll probably do like 1 school in the morning, then have lunch, and then go to my second school after lunch. And another thing that I'm thinking about is to pick a school that's like the farthest away. So just start off my morning with the school that is farthest away, and then make my way to the school that is closest to me. That way I'm not like stuck in a bunch of traffic when it is finally time to go home. I think that's a good plan. So that's what's been going on. I am so sorry that this was belated. So I did put together a binder for myself finally. I have a page that covers all of the themes. I also printed out the pacing guide, so that's going to give me like an overview of that month. So that will be helpful for me so that I can know what they're supposed to be teaching for that month. It also tells me holidays and testing windows. And then a copy of the required testing throughout the school year, beginning, middle, and end of the year. So that's just stuff that'll be helpful for me to just reference super quickly. But that's pretty much it for this week. Like I said, I'll be presenting later this week, so I'll let y'all know how that goes. I hope y'all enjoyed my little update. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.